Towards the far post, Riston, and it's in!
Payne, Berisha, Diamante!
Durante with a free header! And the honour of Western United's first A-League goal goes to a familiar face. Bessart Berisha. It's Connor Payne on the left. Alessandro Diamante with the ball on a string. And
Diamante!
And the Western service crew are celebrating.
All right, welcome back to another week of the All Out West podcast as we look forward to previewing Unite round and catching up on our Adelaide away trip. Today I've got Ross with me. I'm Lebby. How are you, Ross?
Yeah, good. Just a small podcast tonight, just the two of us, but I'm sure we'll still be able to talk some shit and preview everything gone and before and get on to Unite round as well. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, exactly. Apologies for Mason Gerald. They've had a couple of mishaps, so they aren't able to be here tonight, but we'll get you guys started off. Anyway, Ross, you went over to Adelaide, so do you want to run us through how the away trip was and how the day on whole? I know the result was a little bit disappointing in the end with a few contentious decisions, but first of all, how was the trip and how was the support?
Yeah, look, it was a really great atmosphere. First away trip, as I said, the last podcast as well. So really keen to get over, and there was a big group. I reckon there's probably about 60, 70 of us there. Really loud and quite rowdy. The support was really good. Obviously, it was nice that we got a goal early. We sort of gave it out a bit to the Adelaide fans, which was quite funny. But then obviously you can see twice and you cop it twice as hard back. So, that was funny. But, what can you do? The result's the result. I mean, we should have got the penalty through AWAW, and we were right in front of it. But, you can't get the decisions that go your way. And I think we were unlucky. We also had a chance with Dan Zaki where he could have scored. He's one-on-one with the keeper from a set-piece routine. But, these moments happen. They don't happen. And you just got to take it and move on. I mean, it was a good performance. I thought we played much better than the first few weeks. And obviously it was good to have that support over there. And then we had a ripping night out as well on the town. So that was great. Bit rough.
Always makes a loss a little bit easy, doesn't it?
Yeah, bit rough on the flight home Sunday morning. But, even though we didn't win, it was still a great trip. So, it was a beauty, and it was a shame you weren't able to make it over there either.
Oh, look, Adelaide's always a good trip. I've done it a few times anyway, so I know what would have been in store for you boys. But I did see a little bit of good banter between you and the Adelaide home fans that were sitting quite close to you. The guys all dressed up in the Teletubbies and whatnot. So it looked like another great trip all around. But just back to the result and the refereeing for a decision, I just think it's impossible that VAR doesn't get involved in that and look at that AWAW challenge, because we can talk all we want about the game, and Adelaide played well. They were good value, but we were really good value as well. And that was really a turning point in the game where we could have gone 2-1 up, got a real foothold on, and hung on to the result. But look, it wasn't to be. We can't be hung up on it now. I know John Aloisi and other people around the club have had their say. The FA and the APL have come body with John Moss have come out and said it was a wrong decision and that they apologised, but that kind of doesn't really help us now. But let's just hope that in the future they can start getting those decisions a little bit more consistent, at least take it to the monitor when there's something that seems as clear-cut there, because I don't blame the referee on the pitch at all. It's hard to see things when things are going that quickly and you might not be in the right position, but it's just a bit of a travesty that VAR didn't pick it up, and that's what we've got it here for, is those really big, blatant, obvious decisions. And 99% of the people I've seen out there have had an issue with the decision, and as you can tell, the refereeing board has as well. But we won't get too hung up on that. Who were your standout performers for the day, Ross? Who would you give your 3-2-1s to, and even some honourable mentions, because we had a play very
it's a tricky
well.
Game. It's a tricky one to actually give the votes to. I think compared to the first few weeks where we've had three sort of unanimous standouts, I think the team overall quite lifted. If I had to give my three, I think I'd probably go with Kane Vidmar. He scored the goal. I mean, it was by a bit of fortune, but it was his first start for the season. He played very solidly down back, and was the leader in defence almost. I mean, the other centre back, Dylan Leonard's only 17, and I know Vidmar's only young himself, I think 21. But, he really stepped up and, gave us a good shift at the back there. So I'll give him the 3. I think Riku Danzaki was really promising again. I mean, we say he should have scored, shoulda, coulda, woulda. But he was making great runs, playing great balls. So I'll give him the 2. And I think my 1 vote, I might go with Benny Garuccio coming back from injury. He came on and gave us a ripping cameo. I mean, it was only 25 minutes or so, but, he came on, gave us some drive forward up the left-hand side, and that was the pitch side that we were sitting on the second half. So we got to see a fair bit of him right in front of us. And, he played well, didn't get any assists or anything, but hopefully we get him back starting this Friday and, we can go from there and get some more attacking drive in. So what about you?
Yeah, Benny's definitely an important player for me. I won't chuck him in my votes this week. I'll have to agree with you on Kane Vidmar for the 3, even though we conceded 2 goals in the end. The first one was very, very unfortunate. Could have really gone anywhere, and poor young Dylan Leonard obviously cops the brunt of an own goal, which he couldn't have done too much about. But Vidmar really marshalled that whole defensive area. For 3 of our 4 players were under the age of 21, our starting players in defence, and Tate Russell isn't an old boy himself either, so even though he's had a fair few appearances under his belt. So you have to really give props to what our defence did, and how Kane really stood up. Well taken goal as well, his first in the league, which would have been nice. He had some family members over there, having the family from Adelaide, obviously, so that was nice for him. For number 2, I'll give Wallity the 2, just because he ran rings around the Adelaide defence without any end product, to be said. But he's one for the future. He's looking really, really bright. He's quick. He's quite far. He's quite strong on the ball as well. And he's got a bit of swagger and confidence to him, which I like. But number 1, I'll give to Riku Danzaki, because his performances week in, week out this season have really improved on last season, and he's getting back to what we know he can be, what we've seen at the Brisbane Roar and the like in the past. So he'll get my 1 vote for sure. But another honourable mention for Matt Sutton in goal as well. And he looks like he's taken that number 1 spot with both hands from Tommy Heward-Bell. So all props to him. But we will quickly run through the other results for the round anyway. So we obviously played the Saturday night and lost 2-1 against Adelaide at Cooper Stadium. On the Friday night, it was 4-1 drubbing of Newcastle Jets by Western Sydney Wanderers. The Saturday afternoon saw Melbourne Victory beat Brisbane Roar 2-0. Sunday started off with Wellington Phoenix having a really comprehensive away victory on the Central Coast. MacArthur, shock of the round, like you said last time round, Ross, beating Sydney 2-1 away from home with a last-minute goal, and Melbourne City far, far too strong for Perth Glory, 5-0 in Perth. So, anyway, we'll go on to our women's fixtures just quickly to touch over them, because we've had a couple of games since we last were on. So, on the Friday, the 8th of November, Western United played their second home match of the season against Central Coast Wanderers, and it was a 0-0 draw. Was a very exciting game, few opportunities, but probably ended fair, being the 0-0. Did you manage to catch any of that, Ross, or at least catch any of the highlights?
No, I didn't get to see the Mariners game, but I obviously did get to see the Victory game that I'm sure you'll touch on. So maybe I should have switched my priorities there and watched the 0-0 rather than the 4-1, but it is what it is.
Well, I actually missed the Victory game, so I think I might have got my priorities right, whereas I was able to catch this one. So, nice fun game at home. Decent turnout for an early Friday, not too early, but still a Friday night game. So we just want to keep seeing our women do well and grow in the West, and we've got a lot of support from them on this podcast and with fans as well. They're a really great group of chicks. So
100%.
Not a bad start to the season. Probably could have been a little bit better than we hoped, as we'll get on to with the Victory game in just a minute. But I'm sure they'll come good because we do have a really, really strong side. But anyway, for that round of fixtures, we also had Melbourne City beating Melbourne Victory 3-2, Brisbane Roar beating Sydney 1-0, Canberra United getting the away win over Wellington, Adelaide United beating Western Sydney 2-0, and Perth Glory beating the Newcastle Jets 3-2. So we will move on to last weekend's games. So as you said, pretty disappointing result against Melbourne Victory. We ended up losing 4-1. Zimmerman with the goal for us, but again, I only caught the highlights, wasn't able to catch this match. What did you make of that performance and result, Ross?
Well, to start off with, I mean, it's always tough when you concede a goal in 30 seconds. You know, we had the ball, we lost the ball. Victory got straight in behind with Emily Gilnick, and, you know, she put it in the back of the net, which is obviously like you tune into the game a minute or two late and you're already down a goal, which is not really a great start.
Bit of a kick in the guts.
Yeah, exactly right. And then she scored again 10 minutes later, which is obviously not ideal at all. We got a goal back, and it looked like we had a little bit of promise. You know, these games where they sort of, you get a goal back, you start to push again, you believe that you can equalise the game. And then, you know, they got another one against a run of play. Gilnick got a hat-trick, and I think that sort of took the wind out of the sails a little bit going into halftime as well. I can appreciate that, you know, we made a sub after halftime, try and change things up a little bit, and then we made a couple more. But, you know, they got him again, and they scored quite a nice goal for the fourth. From outside the box, she chipped the keeper and, you know, was a bit nonchalant about the celebration. But, you know, it was a great goal, so I don't know why she didn't go nuts for it. But, you know, what can you do? I mean, we've still got a strong side, and special mention as well. I know we had Alana Cordolino. I think she's our youngest ever women's debutante.
I think second youngest. Third youngest of all time, but second youngest women's.
Yeah, so, you know, not even 18 yet as well. So it's obviously great that we can blood that experience as well for her and get her some first team minutes. So hopefully, you know, we can bounce back from that one and, you know, keep moving forward, keep playing the youth. And, you know, I think Victory have got quite a strong squad. Them and Canberra, I think, will be the two that'll be up there. So, you know, see how we go.
Yeah, definitely with some household names in those two teams as well, as everyone knows. Mix of good experience in it as well. We can still definitely have a very positive season. But just to run through the other games for the round of that anyway, Brisbane Roar defeating Perth Glory 3-0 on Friday. Sydney beating Western Sydney in the derby 1-0 on Saturday. Melbourne City drew 2-2 with the Mariners. Adelaide United beat Canberra United away, which was probably the shock of the round. Newcastle Jets beating Wellington Phoenix 1-0. And obviously our 4-1 loss against Melbourne Victory. So anyway, we will move on, Ross, and we'll move on to the preview for this upcoming Unite round this weekend. So on Friday, the 22nd of November at 5:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, we'll be playing Perth Glory at Allianz Arena, which is followed by the Newcastle Jets and Central Coast Mariners for a doubleheader in the men's. Whereas our women will be playing against the Newcastle Jets on the Saturday. Will be the game that's following Central Coast Mariners and Victory. So neither of us are unfortunately heading to Unite round. Save a little bit of money in the bank account. No. You know, a fair few people that are heading over are in store for a really good weekend of football, as long as they can get around the transport situation in Sydney, but I'm sure that will be fine. But how do you see us going against Perth Glory on Friday evening?
Look, they've scored once this season. They've conceded 13. So, I mean, I think having a neutral ground probably plays a little bit into our favour over theirs. I know that they're a side that have actually come out and beaten us. I remember they beat us in Ballarat. I think it was maybe last season, or maybe even 2 seasons in a row. So I don't think, it might be different with Ironbark, but I don't think they're a team that were particularly fearful of coming and playing us away from home. They got a couple of results against us, so hopefully playing at the neutral venue and the Glory side just being a bit worse this season means we can notch up our first win. But, we just have to wait and see because it is a neutral ground. They could turn up and play and catch us 1 or 2 goals off guard and then, it's just gone from there. But you never know. And I'll be taking us as favourites. So hopefully we can get the win.
Result?
I'll go with 3-0 Western United, I reckon.
Okay, big result.
I think hopefully we can just, get some confidence and, bang a couple past them.
Yeah, look, I'll agree with you. We probably, I wouldn't say strong favourites, but I'd say definite favourites going into the game. Just the difference of fortunes between almost everyone else in the league and Perth this season. I think they're clearly the weakest team in the league. Happy to be proven wrong with that, but it could be another wooden spoon headed for them. And hopefully they just get some good support over in Sydney, like all the clubs do. You want to see as many fans making it over there as possible and plenty of neutrals jumping in and maybe picking a team that they haven't picked before. So it's play well and play entertaining this weekend. But I'll take a 2-0 Western United win. I think we'll just be a bit too strong for them. They're a young side as well. So with our young guys being quite confident and having maybe not as much experience, but probably a little bit more gusto in the way that they play than Perth, I'd say we're probably the favourites for this game. So tune in at 5:30 on Friday evening.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, see you at 5:30 for our game, but obviously for those heading to Sydney, the action doesn't finish there, and we've got Newcastle and the Central Coast. So the F3 derby, how do you see this one playing out, Lebby?
Oh, it's kind of hard to pick at the moment because they're both coming off some heavy results, Newcastle and the Central Coast. The Central Coast probably haven't hit the heights this season that you expected them to. But again, Newcastle is one of those teams, kind of like Perth, where the quality being a derby, getting people right down the F3 all the way to Sydney, should be a good spectacle, and hopefully that brings a few more fans into our game, but a few of ours stick around for their game as well and watch a good game. But I think Central Coast might just get up in this one, maybe 1-0. I think their experience will still probably be a little bit too much for Newcastle. But just getting back to our game for a minute, Ross, we do have the watch party at the Park Hotel in Werribee for those who aren't going to Unite Round. So get down from 5 p.m. for some lovely food, few drinks, bit of banter with the boys and the girls who come along, and hoping to see you all there. Hoping to see you there too, Ross.
Yeah, look, I don't see why not.
Yep.
Count me in.
Beautiful. Anyway, we'll move on to Saturday's games for Unite Round. We'll run through these two quickly. First one's Brisbane Roar versus Adelaide at 5 p.m. And then the second one is the Sydney Derby, Sydney FC and Western Sydney FC at 7:35 p.m. So first of all, Brisbane Roar and Adelaide. How do you see that one going, Ross?
Look, I think, having seen Adelaide play live, they played pretty solidly. We put up a good fight against them, but they still obviously prevailed. I don't know if I can see Brisbane pulling off the same result. Obviously they went down pretty poorly, 2-0 to the victory last week. So I think Adelaide will probably take it. I'll go 2-0 again to Adelaide. Just don't think Brisbane will hold up defensively. But at the same time, I don't think Adelaide will outright smash them either.
Yeah, have to agree with you on that one, Ross. I'd say Adelaide will be a bit too strong for Brisbane. The week before, we had the international break anyway. So I think they're a good side. Definitely have a push at top 6, top 4 this season, whereas Brisbane are floundering just that little bit. So I'll go with 2-0 as well. But I'd say Sydney FC are the slight favourites here. Western Sydney coming off a good win, even though Sydney FC are coming off a loss. But I'd say they'll probably have the majority of the support there, still being a home game technically for them in Allianz. And they might just be a bit too strong for that Western Sydney Wanderers defence, which has been a touch shaky at times this season. What are your thoughts?
Look, I think I'm actually going to take it the other way. I think the Wanderers will be out for redemption. We know they lost 2-1 in the first derby of the season. It doesn't really make much sense to me why they're having two derbies in the space of 5 rounds, but it is what it is. Um, I believe Douglas Costa is out for the match, so I think that to tip it back towards the Wanderers. Obviously, I agree that Sydney should be favourites, but I think I'll take that as an upset, not my upset of the round. I'll go with the Wanderers too.
All right, sounds good to me. Anyway, we'll move on to Sunday now, and we'll start off with your thoughts on Wellington Phoenix versus Melbourne Victory.
Yeah, the Phoenix have been in decent enough form. They drew with us 1-1. I know they went away to Perth and beat them. They were pretty stiff in the New Zealand derby against Auckland, but then they came back and they spanked the Mariners away from home. So they're a bit up and down. Victory are in good form as well. I know they beat Melbourne City 3-0. They beat Macarthur. They beat the Raw. So they're on a 3-game winning streak. However, this is where my upset of the round comes in. The Phoenix have the upper hand on the Victory. They, beat them over in New Zealand a couple of times last season. I know this game's not in New Zealand, but I can just see the Phoenix cooking up a little something. I know their Japanese signing Ishige has been in good form, taking set pieces. He scored a lovely free kick against the Mariners. So I'll back him to get on the score sheet again. I'm going to take them 3-2.
Ooh, very interesting. I'll go the other way with that. I'll stay a bit safe, but judging by your past predictions, I might be proven wrong again. I'll say it'll probably be a 1-0 Melbourne Victory win. Very tight, very close contest because Wellington do look like quite a good side, even though they've had their ups and downs. But I think Victory will be a little bit too strong for them still. But their last game of the round anyway, finishing with Macarthur FC versus Auckland.
Yeah, look, I don't really know how this will go because I had the read on Macarthur beating Sydney, but it was still quite lucky. They obviously scored very, very, very late on. That said, Auckland haven't lost yet, but they also haven't played a game in Australia. They've played twice at home and then played once at Wellington. So seeing how they cope with the travel over, I'm not really sure. I think I'll take it 1-1.
Yep. I think I'll go for a Macarthur win this time. Just being in New South Wales, you saying Auckland haven't travelled, and it could go either way. They could be really fresh because they haven't played in 3 weeks, as you know. They had the bye last round, and then we've had the international break as well. So they could be fresh, or they could be a little bit rusty. And I think they might be a bit rusty, and Macarthur will just nick this one. But
Yeah,
we'll move
definitely.
on to the women's games anyway. So we'll be playing the Newcastle Jets on the Saturday afternoon. How do you see that one going?
Look, I think on paper we can get past the Jets. They are same spot in the table as us, both with 4 points. We've only conceded one more goal than they have. So hoping for the best. I think Catherine Zimmerman might score again. She's on fire. So we'll take Zimmerman. We'll take Zimmerman to score, and I think we'll go 2-1 to Western United. Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm a bit more hopeful this time. I think our table placement is a little bit deceiving. I think we definitely could have won against the Mariners, came up against a strong Victory side that have obviously skewed our goal difference down a little bit. But I'm going to pop us. We're going to cook something good. I think Chloe Lagazzo has also been on fire this season, and I think you're right. Zimmerman is hot too, so wouldn't be surprised to see her keep up her goal scoring streak. But just to quickly run through the rest of the women's matches for the round, just quick tips, Ross. Adelaide United versus Wellington.
I believe that Wellington have been quite poor this season. I don't think they've won a game, so I'll take Adelaide.
Yep, beautiful. Western Sydney, Brisbane.
That's a tricky one as well. I think I'll go Western Sydney playing in Sydney. I'll take them.
1 draw and 2 losses, so that could be a bit of an upset, even though it is.
Yeah.
Versus Victory.
Mariners versus Victory. Let's see. I'll take Victory again. I think they were strong against us. The Mariners are decent as well, but obviously, a team that scored got 4 the last week before should be the favourite. So I think I'll take it safe and take the Victory.
Yeah, I think Victory too with their experience. We'll see how they go, but yeah, they haven't looked too bad. Canberra versus Perth.
I think I'll take Canberra to put 3 past Perth. Their upfront combination, Michelle Heyman, Matilda, and Maya Markovsky, who I think might be a future Matilda. They've been on fire, so I'll take them to beat Perth 3-0.
Yep, likewise here. And finishing off with Sydney and Melbourne City.
Well, City have been the form team of the comp. I'm not sure if it will continue because they have leaked goals, but they have obviously some firepower. And they do have an ex-Westie in Tyler J. Vlanich playing for them now, which is obviously weird to see.
Yeah, big miss for us.
They are the form side of the comp so far. I can back them to keep it up. So we'll take City.
Yep, I'll agree with you on that one anyway. So just to recap that, we've got all of those fixtures this weekend. We're currently sitting 8th in the A-League women's table, and in the men's table, we are currently sitting in... Sorry, just give me a second while I pull it up. In 11th, unfortunately, but that could all change this weekend. It's still early on in the season, so we could either jump or fall a couple of places, either way. We're just hoping for a really good round of football and really good support over in New South Wales for the Unite round. Let's just continue to see the game grow. Any other shout-outs for the A-League or football this week, Ross?
No, look, I think, as you say, it'd be good to get a good showing over at Unite Round. So hopefully the people that do go over get very loud, very active on the socials, can make some content for us, take some pictures of who goes over and whatnot. That'd be great to see. But obviously it seems like they have improved on the experience this year based on what I've been reading online with fan zones, activations, all that sort of stuff. So hopefully, they can take it really well this year. I know last year was a bit of a letdown for the people that went over. They didn't really have as much planned as they probably should have. This year can be the year where they put a lot more into it, really get something out of it, and then next year hopefully be able to make it over and it's just top notch. The football will be top notch anyway, but it's all about the whole experience as well. Yeah.
Anyway, that's all we can hope for. It's still in its infancy, only the second year, so let's hope it's a success. We'll finish off with Beer of the Week without a beer this week. Got a good old Suntory 196, which everybody does quite
beautiful.
Whether you like the lime or the apple. Now, isn't there, Ross, as well?
Yeah, there's a fair few. So, I'm a big fan of those lemon ones. And, I don't know if they are particularly great for the next day, though. Usually the sugar kind of kills me. So
yeah, that's why I think I'll just stick to one tonight. So drink responsibly and cheers. Anyway, we'll finish up there. Hope to see as many people at the Park Hotel on Friday evening as we can for the watch party, and hope to see a lot of good support over in Unite Round. So we'll be back next week to cover that. And for more great content, check out our socials, like, subscribe, share as much as you can. We appreciate all the support. And all West, aren't we, Ross?
Absolutely, all West, aren't we? Come on, Western. Let's get a win this weekend.
Towards the far post, Riston, and it's in!
Payne, Barisha, Diamante!
Durante with a free header! And the honour of Western United's first A-League goal goes to a familiar face. Bessart, Barisha. It's Connor Payne on the left. Alessandro Diamante with the ball on a string. And
Oh, Diamante!
the Western service crew